He leaves Apple. I talked to him about Next, but I never thought that computer would do that well. So he was disappointed. But then when he goes back and it's unbelievable what a great job he did, because Apple went from being on the way to dying to being the world's most valuable company. And Steve had really matured, and was something. And we helped write software for that. Then later, when Steve is sick, we had about 5 different conversations where we got to talk about kids and, had computers done well, and, where he was pretty thoughtful. It's amazing to me that Steve, his skill set and mine, other than, okay, madman, leader, drawing people in, but his taste in design and user interface, and even his intuition about people, he was just genius in a way you can't explain. He didn't look at code and write code, whereas, my thing is, hey, I'm an engineer, here's the code, let's make it faster and smaller. So actually that allowed us to get along, because, what he was super good at, I was not good at. I envied those just incredible talents that he had. And in some ways, he's more singular. If you say to me, are there other people like you who are great at writing code and conceptualizing? Yeah, I can name a number of people, including many who worked with me. But I don't know somebody who I say, oh yeah, he's just like Steve Jobs.
Wow. Well, that's very humble of you as well. I mean, it's beautiful to hear. What were some of those final conversations like that you had with him that were potentially, I always felt like he was so philosophical, and maybe more so in those moments?
Yeah, we did one public appearance, where we were being thoughtful about the friendship. Walt Mossberg had us on stage together, which was definitely a fun thing and surprised people, because Steve was very harsh. He was always, he said we were the General Motors and he was like the Mercedes. But all in, it was all very fair. Well, we reflected that computers really hadn't improved education, and where both he and I had given speeches saying, of course, this will make education, 5 times better. And we were like, wow, we got that one wrong. Maybe next round we'll deliver on that promise. And how unusual it was, and even a little bit lonely, that when you were so successful and then you're having doubts about, okay, are we making mistakes here? Both of us had kids by then. He was actually, of course, he not only did Apple, he did the Pixar stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because that was a realm I'm not in, I, could sincerely tell him what a brilliant job he did.